the Start New, and I'm going to begin with this tab, literally anything. And I know David is going to talk about these other tabs that are on here, but I'm going to create a new search here, and I am going to ask Diffit. I want it to take Act 2, Scene 2 from Romeo and Juliet and place it into more modern day language for ninth graders. Okay, so in ELA class, lots of people teach Romeo and Juliet as a work within their classrooms that they teach. So this is going to be a nonfiction, well, it's a fiction source here. So I'm going to switch it from nonfiction to fiction. And I'm going to tell it that I want it to align to ELA standards, which is then going to allow me to locate, and I know David will show some standard stuff here too, but it's just great that you're able to do this from right within these features here. And I'm going to use one here about figures of speech, because Shakespeare uses a lot of different types of figures of speech within there. And I'm going to set that to the standard. You'll see that it already is there for ninth graders and in English. So I'm going to generate and see what it pulls together here for me. And so I'll give it a minute here as it loads up. And as it does, it gives you some tips of other things that you can do with it here. So it gives me an image here, and I can, but one of the really neat things that it also does here is it allows you to click on some different links here to learn more about where some of these different things come from, or where their sources of information that it uses is going to be based upon. Okay, so here we are with what it creates here for us, and it begins with an adapted reading passage here that goes along with it. I do have the ability to edit right from within here or copy it and paste it to another document if I would like to. And so what you're going to notice here is that it obviously condensed it and made it much shorter during part of this. And it does use some of the kind of classic language like Juliet's, on the balcony saying, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy family and refuse thy name. But yet it kind of also talks about a little bit more modernly, like, hey, I would give up everything for you. Let's run away. Let's leave this feuding behind and let's do our own thing. Juliet talks about, I can't bear to be without you. How can we escape this rivalry that our families have? So it really kind of condenses it down a lot of that language that Shakespeare had used and makes it a little bit more accessible here for a ninth grade audience, especially some of those students that are going to struggle. You're going to see that it's also going to give you a little bit of a summary, and as well as some vocabulary words that get embedded into here as well. There is an AI tool, the Add Vocab, if you want to put different words in here than what come up in the initial one, as well as multiple choice activities or questions here to assess that student learning, and gives you some short answer or open-ended prompts as well. And remember, the standard that I tied it to had to deal with some of that figurative language, and it actually cites it right here with the questions, how it's aligning to those different standards. But one of the things that I like best here about what Diffit does is if I click on this button right here, Get Student Activities, it's going to open up all sorts of different types of templates or documents that I can access that have this content already in it, right? So some of these are going to be available for free this month, while others are just going to always be free. And some, you might have to have the paid subscription service to Diffit to be able to use. So I'm going to choose this one right here because it looks kind of fun, is this vocabulary choice board. So you can see here using those vocabulary words that it pulled out, I can give students here a choice board of an activity, whether it be creating flashcards or writing a speech that goes along with the content that I had provided with it. And if I like this one, and I was on my premium plan once it, like I was before, I could get this activity. But if I am not, what's to stop me from taking some of this content right here and copying and pasting it into a different area? Another activity that might be kind of a fun one to take a look at could be this printable document here one based upon these different characteristics that are there. So maybe I want to include the reading level. Maybe I don't need to see uh, multiple choice questions, um, but I'm going to choose to instead have the short answer questions and see how it see what it generates here. And I get the choice of how do I want to share that activity. And I'm just going to choose to open it here as a Google Doc because maybe I'm still going to do a little bit of work on tweaking it. So here is then a document that it creates for me. And again, if I don't like the wording in it, it's all changeable before I send it out to students in whatever fashion that I choose to do so. But I love the templates that it creates right from these student activities and these resources. Just great tools that can definitely share teachers just a ton of time. And what I would really recommend is really diving in and exploring what some of those tools are